Charlie Kirk has passed away. So again, I'm going to read to you what the president said. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. So again, President Trump telling us at this hour that Charlie Kirk has died. Kirk was shot at an event at Utah Valley University earlier today, shortly after noon, according to the university. There was a single shot that rang out. He was shot in the neck, and now the President of the United States, someone that Charlie Kirk was close to, is reporting that he has died.
There's a lot of cautious words being said, a lot of people concerned about where this may lead us, how we take in people's lives and the importance of those lives. The sad case of this country is this is not the beginning of this. This is not where this started. This is not where it's going to end. So as people have been dying, we've had this senselessness towards it. We've had this desensitization to it. We just don't really care anymore. And in fact, we've had folks celebrate people dying that apparently aren't important. But to everyone who dies, they're important to somebody. So they have Scott Jennings on to talk about how important Charlie Kirk was to Scott Jennings. I believe Scott Jennings that Charlie Kirk was important to him. I just wish the people who died and then people like Scott Jennings and Charlie Kirk laughed at them dying, understood that they were also important to other people that they don't know. But the problem is there's no empathy in this world. There's no empathy in this country. We have this approach to things that just go, well, moving on. We, have survivors of child sex traffickers go and plead their case in front of cameras for an hour and a half. And the important people in this country go, whatever. We've lost people. Virginia Giuffre died this year as a direct result of what is that she went through. And I don't know how many people had wall-to-wall coverage about it. I wish they did. I'm okay with them having wall-to-wall coverage about Charlie Kirk. He was influential. A lot of people knew him. I get that. I wish this wasn't an illustration of his hierarchy of the importance of different people's lives. So when you see people say horrific things about this, when you see people celebrate this, understand it's because they felt the pain of being ridiculed when people they know and love died. When there's a school shooting at Uvalde, I was on camera, man, I was bawling about that. I didn't know any of those kids, but I saw their parents and I understood what that would feel like. And I saw people that were going, whatever. That was years ago. Why is it that this is the moment when that changes? Charlie Kirk was a kid in elementary school once too. And those kids were in elementary school. And when you saw Superman coffins being carted out and people personalizing their coffins the size of children, that was too much for me. And it's sad there wasn't enough people where that wasn't too much for them, where instead they went back to NRA donors and they talked about how much more money they could make off of this event. And for people who had empty promises of wanting to do something about it. Yeah, on the Democratic side too. We have to do something about this. Help me raise money so we can get elected. And they still don't dive into the fight. I just wish we cared about other people's lives. So when George Floyd gets kneeled onto his neck, when Sandra Bland gets murdered, and then there's a big movement over it, and it gets whittled down to all of these angry people are rioting in the streets. And for what? For people's lives. I hope that's the lesson that could be learned. I doubt that it will. We're a self-destructive nation. We always have been. People get murdered throughout our history in horrific ways. And every time it happens, there's plenty of people laughing about it. So we're going to see people laughing about this. And it's the same as people laughing about anyone else that they didn't like that got murdered.
David, I'm sorry to be talking to you under these conditions. What are you hearing from your friends and your colleagues, people who know and follow Charlie Kirk right now? Tell us what people are going through.
Yeah, you know, Jake, it's a tragedy for America, not just for the Republican Party or for MAGA, Jake, as you know. I met Charlie back in the 2016 during the 2016 race, and used to joke with him. You know, he was an Eagle Scout. He's an all-American kind of boy. Wanted to go to West Point. I went to West Point, so he and I joke about that. But he was doing it the right way, Jake. You heard Brian Seltzer talk about. He didn't agree with Brian. You knew Brian wouldn't agree with him, but he offered to sit down and talk with him, to debate him on the merits. He'd put a card table out on college campuses and say, "Prove me wrong. Talk to me about this." This was a guy who was trying to change hearts and minds. He was a happy warrior out there doing this, and he was very powerful. And so to see his young life snatched away, it's heartbreaking, Jake. The guy is 31 years old. He was a father. He's got young kids. He was a husband to his wife, Erica, and now who's a widow. Those kids, as you alluded to, Jake, they don't have a father now because of someone who didn't like his political standpoint, didn't like his views. I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's disgusting. And everybody, I think, in America should take a step back and really, whether you like Charlie Kirk, you don't, whether you like the president or you're not, you got to say this has got to stop. This can't happen. Here's a guy who's going about it the right way, and he's stricken down in a very graphic manner. It's just disgusting. It's heartbreaking, and you got to pray for his family. They can get through this somehow.
A lot of Democratic officials have been quick to share their condemnation of the shooting and calling for an end to political violence and saying that there's no justification for any of this. But here we are, another instance of politically motivated attacks in our country. You're from Western Pennsylvania, where that attempted assassination on President Trump took place last year. We've also seen, obviously, the assassinations of Democrats in Minnesota. We've seen the shooting at the Catholic Church.
Steve Scalise. Steve Scalise almost assassinated Gabby Giffords.
Yep.
I mean, too many people. If you disagree with someone's political view, you don't kill them. You don't have the right to take them down. You saw Gavin Newsom and Charlie sat down earlier this year. You think those two agree on anything? Nothing. But they had a civil discourse. They were doing it the right way.
He reminded me of something here. This guy talking about the uptick of violence in our politics, and it's been creeping in. I believe it was June. It was this summer. 2 Minnesota lawmakers were shot. One died along with her husband and the family dog, was shot in their homes. There was an attempted murder on another one. There was plans for more of this to happen. And sometimes a tone could have been set there. Those were, if we're going to start putting this hierarchy on people, those were quote unquote important people. They just happened to be Democratic representatives of the state. And we didn't get much of a wall-to-wall coverage. We didn't get much of a cross bipartisan sympathy tour. We didn't even get people saying, maybe we have to tell others to reel in this rhetoric. We got our president telling them that Tim Walz is a horrible person and that he might call him. And I think it's crazy that after that happened, we went, that's Trump being Trump. So when we keep shrugging things off, we don't know the numbers of people that aren't shrugging it off and are building up this anger and feel like their backs are against the wall and are concerned that because of policies and shrugging off and this heightened sense of kill or be killed, that they're going to be next, so they go first.
Well, I mean, we were about 10 minutes into the interview, and 4 people in front of us, we hear the gunshot, and then you see Charlie go limp, and his neck kind of turned, and we saw blood immediately.
And could you get a sense, Emma, of his injuries and what happened after that?
Both of our perspectives were that he was shot in the neck. To be perfectly blunt, it seemed like it felt like so much blood came out of his neck immediately. And then we all took to the ground. I can't tell you almost what happened immediately after.
We see children get carted out of schools. We see images of schools, classrooms full of blood. And we hear stories of teachers covering their students and then dying because of it. And I wish it was wall-to-wall coverage so that we could convince enough people that are in positions of power to do something different to prevent those things from happening and to care about it. And then when you talk about, oh, look what's going on in Chicago, look what's going on in Baltimore. Did you know 7 people were shot over the weekend? 7 people's families and friends were very upset over those weekends, as you flippantly talk about those as a reason for you to then create more violence. That's the connection I don't think we're making. I know people who've had family members killed, died early. I lost a brother early. This is what's going to happen next. There's going to be laws put in place that'll potentially be slanted one way or another. There's going to be a heightened sense of security. You're going to get a huge uptick in people wanting to go buy more guns. I said this months ago. You might get some proclamations and bills put forward that may limit people's guns rights, because now it's important enough.